Michael was an ordinary man, and perhaps that's precisely why everything that happened to him gives us such chills. Because it could be me, it could be you. The real names have been hidden to preserve the privacy of the person involved. Therefore, in this story, we will use Michael's fictional name. He had a life that, to anyone's eyes, seemed normal. Married, father of 2 children, healthy, with no history of illnesses. He worked at a small technology company and lived in a quiet neighborhood outside of Denver, Colorado. He was that type of person who didn't attract attention until he started saying something. Always the same thing. For more than 20 years, Michael repeated the same phrase jokingly, or at least that's what everyone thought. "I'm not over 50. Seriously, I feel it." The wife laughed, thinking it was just another one of those morbid jokes made by those who are afraid of old age. His friends, accustomed to it, rolled their eyes every time he insisted. But time passed, and as the years approached the dreaded 50, Michael became different. He showed no symptoms of illness, no warning signs. In medical examinations, everything was normal, but something about him had changed inside. It was as if the body itself was preparing to obey something that had already been decreed. He stopped making long-term plans. He said retirement was a waste of time, and that it wouldn't make sense to renovate the house, because he wouldn't be there to see it anymore. It was difficult not to notice the vibrational weight of those words. It wasn't just a joke anymore. It was a conviction, until his 49th birthday arrived. And it was the last. What happened over the next few weeks seemed like a sequence of bizarre coincidences, as if everything was falling into place, but the other way around. It wasn't just a physical loss. It was as if a silent prophecy had finally come true. And the scariest thing? He wrote it himself. Have you ever felt like you keep saying the worst things to yourself, as if you were creating reality without realizing it? Have you ever repeated phrases like, "I'll never make it," "This isn't for me," "It won't work," and then saw exactly that happen? Maybe it's not a coincidence. Maybe you are shaping your life with words you no longer realize you are saying. If you've ever had this feeling, write here in the comments. I've already sabotaged myself with my words. And watch this video until the end, because what you will discover could completely change the way you communicate with the universe. Enjoy and leave your like. This really helps this content reach more people who also need to wake up. And subscribe to the channel, because here we reveal the secrets that the world insists on hiding. Michael's story is just beginning, and perhaps she is the mirror of yours. Michael had a good life. Steady job, 2 healthy children, a wife who loved him, and a house he had painstakingly bought after years of saving. From the outside, he was the kind of man who seemed to have made it in life. He wasn't rich or famous, but he had what many people want: peace, stability, and a predictable future. But what no one understood was that he himself didn't believe in this future. Since his early 30s, Michael had carried a kind of quiet certainty, something he said often, at first, as a joke, laughing with that, "I'm not serious, but maybe I am" air. "I'm not over 50. I don't see myself as old." It was always like this, loose, casual, in the middle of conversations that talked about retirement, future travel, long-term plans. He would cut the subject short with this type of phrase. At first, nobody cared. It seemed like something for people who are afraid of getting old or don't want to think about illnesses. But over time, things got stranger. At 45, he turned down a promotion because he said it wasn't worth taking on more responsibilities now. "What's the point if I don't even know if I'll be here in 5 years?" he commented to a coworker. The phrase was ignored at the time, but it remained in the memory of those who heard it. At 47, he sold the motorcycle he loved because he said he didn't want to leave his wife with expensive insurance to deal with when he's gone. And at 48, he started writing letters to his children, letters that seemed like goodbyes. Michael's health was considered excellent. No high cholesterol, no altered blood pressure, no worrying family history. He went for walks, took care of his diet, and slept well. The annual exams always came with that famous stamp. Everything was normal. But inside, something screamed. Something invisible. A vibrational field built by years of repetition, fear, and deep belief. On the day he turned 49, Michael had a simple party at home with his closest friends. He smiled, toasted, made jokes. But some people noticed something in his eyes. A quiet melancholy. An absent presence. As if he were there, and at the same time he wasn't. For months later, in the middle of an ordinary morning at work, he felt a sharp pain behind his eyes. lost his balance, and passed out. He arrived at the hospital unconscious. He never woke up again. The cause? A fulminant brain aneurysm. Doctors classified it as unpredictable. No signal, no changes detected before. Just a silent, unexpected, fatal break. Post-mortem examinations did not reveal any chronic conditions. Nothing to indicate that this was brewing or was predictable. Nothing in the physical. But what about the invisible field? And in the mind that created this reality for almost 2 decades? And in the energy that, even silent, obeys everything we strongly believe? This is the part that the reports don't explain. And maybe you feel it too. Maybe you're repeating phrases that seem innocent, but they are shaping something much bigger. Have you ever said something like, "I'm unlucky," and then immediately something went wrong, as if the universe was listening? Maybe I repeated, "This always happens to me," thinking it was just venting, but deep down, it was more than that. The truth is, we all do it. We repeat phrases without realizing the weight they carry. Phrases that seem harmless, but that little by little begin to program not only the mind, but the body, the vibration, and the entire reality. Michael did that, and maybe you will too. "I'm not over 50. It was his phrase, but everyone has their own. "I'm never lucky. Nothing goes right for me. Everyone leave. I'm not good enough." What if these sentences weren't just words? What if they were commands, frequencies, silent orders that your subconscious and the universe obey without question? We tend to think that only major traumas shape our lives. But what about the little words said every day? The ones that come out of your mouth almost effortlessly, but echo powerfully within your soul? The body listens. The mind records. Energy responds. Reality mirrors. Michael believed, without even realizing it, that he wouldn't be here for long. And even though he led a balanced life, inside, he had already given up on part of the future. It was as if his watch was programmed by an invisible intention. And if you stop to think, maybe you felt something like this too. The feeling that you are living a script that you wrote yourself. Not with a pen, but with emotion, with belief, with vibration. How many times have you said, "I'm tired," and become even more exhausted? How many times have you repeated, "No one understands me," and found yourself immersed in emotional silence? How many times have you felt that, even though you try to change, everything returns to the same place? Maybe it's not bad luck. Maybe it's echo, because words are vibration, and the vibration is creative. Maybe you think you're just venting, but the universe doesn't understand irony. He understands intensity. He understands repetition. And the more you repeat it, the more you reinforce it. Like a spell whispered every day, slowly shaping what you will live through. The mind is like a mirror, and that mirror doesn't show you what you want. It shows you what you believe. It shows what you feel deep down, even when you smile on the outside. That's why so much is repeated. Therefore, the cycles return. And that's why, sometimes, life seems like a movie with a predictable ending. Because maybe you're running the same script. Again, and again. And if this Michael thing is messing with you, maybe it's not just a coincidence. Maybe you're seeing parts of yourself in her. And maybe you're starting to understand why. According to the law of vibration, everything in the universe is energy. Absolutely everything. What you think, what you feel, what you say, even what you keep silent, vibrates. It's not just a pretty metaphor. It is an invisible but constant reality. And if everything vibrates, then everything emits signals, including your beliefs, including those phrases you repeat when you think no one is listening. When a belief is repeated with emotion, it gains strength. It's as if you are feeding into a specific frequency, tuning its energy like an internal radio. And the more you repeat, the clearer the signal becomes. The message you are sending is clearer. And the universe? He doesn't interpret. He doesn't question it. He just responds. Now, when we combine this with the law of cause and effect, things go even deeper. Because this law tells us that every action generates a reaction. But here, action is not just what you do. It's also what you feel. What do you vibrate? What you believe strongly. Each recurring thought, each phrase charged with emotion, each feeling held with strength, becomes a cause. And sooner or later, the consequence comes. Michael didn't die because he said that once. It was not a curse, nor a divine punishment. It was vibration. It was alignment. For years, he held a field of belief so specific, so charged with conviction and repetition, that his energy began to mold itself into it. And when the vibration crystallizes long enough, reality listens. It's as if you spent years with the internal radio knob turned to the same station. Without even realizing it, you tune, adjust, calibrate, until the frequency becomes perfect. And then, the transmission happens. Reality finally responds to what your vibration has been silently asking for. The mind is powerful, but not because it screams. It's because she repeats it. She sustains. It vibrates. And vibration, in the universe, is language. What you feel deeply becomes a sign. And this signal propagates, finds other compatible energies, crosses invisible layers, and returns. Always returns. In Michael's case, his repetition became vibrational identity. He didn't just say he wouldn't live past 50. He era that. He felt it. He lived as if this were true. And little by little, the world around began to reorganize itself to meet this command. Because the universe doesn't react to what you want. He responds to what you and. This is the part that scares the most, and at the same time, the most freeing. Because if you attract what you most align with, then you have the power to change everything. But only after you understand what has vibrated until now. The tragedy of this story is not just death. The scariest part, and at the same time the most revealing, is that Michael may have co-created all of this without realizing it. Not because he wanted to, not because he consciously chose, but because his vibration was being tuned, fed, cultivated day after day. The universe does not act by human logic. It doesn't filter intent. It responds to repetition plus emotion. And that's what makes it all so quietly dangerous. It's like planting a seed without knowing it. You throw the phrase around like it's nothing. I'm not going to make it. This never works out for me. I'm not going to live past 50. And repeat, and repeat, and repeat. At first, it's just an idea. But an idea, when charged with emotion, be it fear, pain, anger, or even resignation, gains strength. It becomes belief. It becomes an identity. It becomes a specific type of frequency. Now imagine this idea as an invisible seed. Every time you think of her with feeling, you water her. Every time you repeat it out loud, you strengthen it. And every time you live coherently with that, avoiding plans, giving up on the future, feeling like you're already losing before you even try, you make it flourish. And the universe, which is always silently listening, only responds, okay, so be it. Michael was not the victim of cruel chance. He was the author of a vibrational prophecy. And the most disturbing thing is that he may never have realized it. He believed he was just being realistic, or maybe even dramatic. But vibration does not distinguish drama from decree. It just vibrates. It just emits. It just returns. And the universe, like an exact mirror, replicates what you hold internally most consistently. The most dangerous thing is not what we say shouting. That's what we silently believe. It's that internal prophecy that you never told anyone, but that lives inside. And the more it is felt as truth, the more it becomes a vibrational order for the life that surrounds you. Michael never said, I want to die young. But everything around him began to behave as if this was the already approved script. Giving up on plans. The lack of expectation. The invisible preparation for departure. The letters. Conversations interrupted. The jokes that, deep down, weren't funny at all. Everything was woven along a fine line between the unconscious and the inevitable. Life did not punish Michael. She just responded. And that is the most brutal and most spiritual point of this story. Because if he had believed in something else, maybe everything would have been different. The truth is that the universe doesn't wait for you to be ready. He doesn't wait for you to change your mind. He just reflects. With precision. With neutrality. With vibrational obedience. And therefore, the most dangerous type of prophecy is the one you believe without realizing it. What are you repeating every day that could end up becoming true? Let this story serve as a profound reminder. Your words have life. Your vibration is language. And the universe is listening. If something inside you was moved by this video, if you felt that you had already vibrated some prophecy without realizing it, write the words here in the comments, wake up. Just that. It's your signal to start changing the frequency. And if this message touched you, strengthen that energy with a like. It helps this content reach other people who are also ready to awaken. Subscribe to the channel now to continue this journey of awareness. Because in the next video, you will learn the story of a woman who did the opposite of Michael. She changed the vibe. She rewrote the script. And the disease that seemed incurable simply disappeared. There is something invisible behind all this. And with each new episode, you will see more.